What made me interested? Actually, I didn't start dancing until I was in college. I was an athlete before that. I played, if it had a ball, a bat, if you ran, if you slapped, if you hit, if you threw, if you did anything, I loved it. I ran, I did all of that other stuff. And then when I went to college, it was before I think it's Title IX. And so they didn't have any kind of women's anything, no baseball team or basketball team or anything. And so the only thing that really kind of worked with me was, dance, run around and, throw myself up and do all of that stuff. And I just lucked into it because I actually took what was an exercise class, we were supposed to make something up at the end of it. And so I said, okay, I was gonna make this dance up. And what I did was I had sweatpants and I stuffed it with all of these clothes. So I came out and I was like big. And then the music that I used was the stripper. It was an old, da da da, da 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 da. And what I did was I took all of the clothes and threw them out, da da da. And my teacher said, no, you need to take a dance class. You don't need to take an exercise class. So next semester, take an exercise class. And that's how I sort of got sucked into it. Oh, those were too funny. Well, Al Green, now I'm gonna have to tell the dirt. Yeah, Al Green, when we did the opening act, Al Green traveled with his church bell. So here we are, with all these dancers, we're all like in this little space, and this church bell has the whole stage to itself, and we're like, okay, here we go, oh, go. So for me, that was always the funniest thing because we had about this much space and the bell had the whole rest of the space because it was right in the middle. But I danced with Calloway and the Cotton Club Review, and most of it was done here in Boston. So, the opening act for Al Green was done at the Roxy. The opening act for Miles Davis was done at the Roxy. And the Calloway and the Cotton Club Review was done at the South Shore, the North Shore Music Center. And he ran there for, I think it was 2 weeks. And so Marla Blakey, who is she's actually from Boston, but she also choreographed Bette Midler's Divine Miss Madness on Broadway and did all of that. She was the choreographer. She was from Boston. And we did, I think the funniest thing I always have funny stories about Calloway and the Cotton Club Review was that all the music was done live. And you would know how the band felt by the tempo of the music. It's like, and we had to go da 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 da. Well, sometimes like da 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 da, and sometimes da 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 da. I'm like, oh my goodness! It's like, anybody know what speed the musicians are going to play tonight? And they go, no idea. But that was the funny. And Miles Davis was a really interesting opening act because it was the first time that he had played a live concert in like 7 or 8 years. He did his opening act. The guy who was Fred Taylor, who actually was the booking for, that you might be too young for this one, Paul's Mall and Jazz Workshop that used to be on Boylston Street, who now books the Regatta Bar, is good friends with him. And I'm good friends with who was his assistant. And he didn't want another band opening up. So they said, what about a dance group? And my friend said, sure, you want to open for Miles Davis? I'm like, oh, open for Miles Davis? Are you kidding me? Of course, So we did the opening act, and as much as the opening act and everybody was all excited about them, the real show was at soundcheck because he played for a good 15, 20 minutes, just him by himself, all of his old ballads, his old songs, and the guy kept saying, okay, play something else, and he would just play. And we had just finished our tech rehearsal, and I was on my way out, and he started, and I just sat there and listened to him play for a good 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Well, the one thing that I always like is that understand that there is such an incredible range of movement. And there is not one thing, but there are many things. And if you are a good imitator, if you can see what it is that they're doing, you can duplicate it. And when the old thing, it's like fake it till you make it, it holds true, because what happens is you can look at it and you can fake it almost to the point where they could believe that you know what it is. You got a good chance at it. Because, I mean, there's always an audition. There's always an audition for college. There's always an audition for a show. There's always an audition for anything. And it's not what they do that you have to look at. It's how they do it that you have to look at in order to duplicate what it is. And duplicating it in the exactness of what it is that is being done not only trains your eye, but it also trains your body to do something that you would not normally do. And the more vocabulary that you have, the better it is as a usable tool.